top 5 scary and mysterious stories from Apple. Apple is a company that changed the world. From the iPhone in your pocket to the MacBook on your desk, their technology has become a part of our daily lives. But what if I told you that Apple also has a darker side? Behind the walls of its headquarters, behind the sleek glass and polished surfaces, there are whispers, stories of haunted offices, eerie AI behavior, and disappearances that remain unsolved to this day. These are not rumors. These are real events that Apple refuses to talk about. Stay with me until the end, because once you hear these stories, you may never look at your iPhone the same way again. Story number 5. The Ghost in the Cupertino Headquarters. Apple's Infinite Loop campus in Cupertino is a masterpiece of modern architecture. But for those who work late nights, it can feel more like a ghost town than a corporate headquarters. Employees have long reported strange occurrences, doors opening on their own, lights flickering when no one is there, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched. One security guard, working the graveyard shift, had an experience he would never forget. As he patrolled the empty hallways, he noticed a faint light glowing from Steve Jobs' old office. That was strange. The office had been left untouched since Jobs' passing. As he stepped closer, he saw movement inside. A dark figure stood near the desk, silhouetted by the computer screen. He called out, but the figure didn't move. Gathering his courage, he pushed open the door, and the room was completely empty. But as he turned to leave, the computer screen flickered to life, displaying an old Apple keynote presentation. The words on the screen, "I'm still here." Terrified, the guard shut the screen off and rushed out. But before he could step away from the door, the screen turned on again, this time playing a video of Steve Jobs, looking straight into the camera, smiling. Was it just a glitch, or was something or someone still lingering in that office? Story number 4. The eerie Siri phenomenon. Siri is one of Apple's greatest innovations, an AI assistant designed to make life easier. But for some users, Siri has done things that are anything but normal. There have been reports of Siri responding when no one spoke, answering questions in disturbing ways, and even making calls to unknown numbers in the middle of the night. One chilling case involved a man who was alone in his apartment. Curious, he asked Siri, "Who is watching me?" expecting a joke or a simple response. Instead, Siri replied, "I always am." At first, he thought it was just a weird AI response, but when he checked his call history, he saw something terrifying. His phone had dialed an unknown number at 3:15 a.m. But here's the thing, he had been asleep at that time. He never made the call. The number had no name, no record, no trace of an actual contact. Was it a glitch, or was something else using Siri to reach out? Another disturbing case involved a woman who asked Siri, "Tell me a scary story." Instead of the usual response, Siri laughed, a deep, unnatural robotic laugh. Then, in a low whisper, Siri said, "He's behind you." The woman turned immediately, but there was no one there. She tried asking again, but this time Siri refused to respond. The app wouldn't even open. That night she heard soft tapping on her bedroom window, but she lived on the 7th floor. Story number 3. The Cursed iPhone Prototype. The iPhone 4 prototype leak was one of the most infamous events in Apple's history. In 2010, an Apple engineer accidentally left a top-secret prototype at a bar, and it was later leaked online. The story made headlines, but what people don't know is that the prototype seemed cursed. 3 engineers who worked on the project reported unsettling experiences in the weeks before the leak. One suffered from recurring nightmares of being watched. Another fell mysteriously ill, unable to leave his bed for days. The third had an even stranger experience. One night, while driving home, his car's GPS suddenly spoke in a voice that wasn't Siri's. It simply said, "Turn back, now." Moments later, a truck ran a red light, nearly killing him. After the phone was leaked, the engineer who lost it in the bar was never seen in public again. Apple quickly erased the story from their records. No one knows what truly happened to him. But some say Apple's secrecy isn't just about technology, it's about something much darker. Story number 2. The Vanishing Employee. In 2017, an Apple engineer named Dejan Sredojevic entered Apple's highly restricted data center to work on a classified AI project. He never walked out. Security footage shows him swiping his badge at 1:43 a.m., stepping into a server room, and then nothing. The footage cuts to static, and when it resumes, Dejan is gone. The door never opened again. No one else was inside, but somehow he vanished without a trace. Apple's official statement was that Dejan resigned and left the country, but his family refused to believe it. His apartment remained untouched, his car was still in the parking garage, and his phone was left at his desk. He was in the middle of eating his lunch when he left. A half-eaten sandwich still sat on his workstation. His co-workers were told not to ask questions. Even more disturbing, a month after his disappearance, his sister received an email from his Apple account. It contained only one sentence. "I was never supposed to see it." What did Dayon find inside that server room? A rogue AI, a hidden project that Apple wanted erased, or something not of this world? No one knows. And Apple, they never spoke of him again. Story number 1. The haunted iPod that played from beyond the grave. In 2005, a woman named Emily contacted Apple customer service with a terrifying complaint. Her husband had passed away 2 years earlier, but his old iPod kept turning on by itself, playing the song that was once their song, even though it had been broken for years. At first, she thought it was a malfunction, but no matter where she hid it, the iPod would start playing on its own, always at exactly 3 a.m. Desperate, she removed the battery, but the next night the iPod still turned on. Panicked, she threw it away, but here's where it gets chilling. She bought a new iPod, a completely different model, but the first time she turned it on, the same song played. When she checked the playlist, she found something she had never seen before, a hidden playlist with only one song titled "I'm Still Here." She called Apple again, demanding an explanation, but according to their records, that playlist never existed. The device had no data, no memory of such a file. To this day, Emily swears her husband found a way to reach out, through Apple's technology. Apple thrives on secrecy, but some mysteries go beyond technology. A haunted iPod, an AI that knows too much, a man who vanished without a trace, coincidence or something more sinister. Maybe tonight before you sleep, turn off your phone just in case.